What's going on today, family? Coming in here, we're gonna do a little story time today. We're gonna talk about the time back in 2019 that my apartment flooded. Absolutely devastating. That apartment had a myriad of other problems that, maybe for another time. Jeez, this apartment was absolutely terrible. And this time in particular, me and someone I was seeing at the time, we went on a small vacation trip to Atlanta, Georgia, and it was a fantastic time. I got to meet some of my music friends out there that I've worked with over the years through the internet. Shout out to you guys. And basically, everything about the trip was absolutely amazing, and it was time to come back home, right? So we're coming back home, and on the way home, there's a bit of a rainstorm going on. Nothing too major, it rains in Florida. I mean, that's just how Florida is. It's always raining, despite being the sunshine state. It's 1 second on, 1 second off. You know the deal. So we were on our way back, and it's raining pretty hard, and we had all our stuff in the car, and we were just like, let's go ahead and grab something to eat. Might be easier on the way home, what have you. So we pick up some Domino's. That's before I got put on to real pizza. So hey, shout out to Domino's though, you're still delicious. But there's a time and a place for that. Typically when you're blackout drunk. Um, but yeah, Domino's over Pizza Hut though. Let's go ahead and establish that. Little Caesar's probably the best one out of the three if we're talking chains though, just because the value you can eat like as long as it's drowned in the butter sauce, it really doesn't matter. So getting off on a tangent, I tend to ramble as you know. So we're pulling back up to the house, and I'm like, man, this rain is extreme out here. Like it looks pretty extreme. Oh, and a part I forgot to include leading up to this is, should I say that now or should I save it? Well, yeah, I'll go ahead and say it now. So basically, we had this problem with our apartment where the toilet was not functioning as intended. So what did we? They had to replace the septic. I mean, it wasn't working the way it needed to work. I forget exactly what the issue was, if it was like, just stuck clogged real bad or what have you. But basically, they tried to clear it out. That didn't work. They had to replace the entire septic system. So when they did this, what it did, we had a flat, surface next to the apartment, and on our side of the building there's just a flat lawn area, but that's where the septic tank was. So what they had to do was they had to dig it up and take it out and put a new one in. Well, that's all fine and dandy in theory, but what they actually did in practice was when they put the new one in, they did not level it right. They made like a freaking, it was like a giant hill next to the, like, we had a front door and a side door. There's this giant hill next to the side door. So maybe you can see where this is going. Um, and I raised issue with this. Well, concern. I didn't like make it a huge thing. I was just like, that's. I'm a little concerned that what happens if it rains real bad, and we got this hill and it's like sloped right at the side door. Mind you, I'm not like some what do you call it, like carpenter or designer, what have you. It's just that just seemed like a common sense thing to me, that hey, this could raise issue, but they're like, it's cool. So I'm like, whatever. It's not, I don't own the property. It's no big deal with me. But I do own the stuff in it. Maybe I should have cared more. Um, but yeah, so you see where this creates an issue. It's not leveled properly. Now there's a hill next to the side door. So maybe you can see where this is going. So what happens is when we're pulling back up to the house, we've got our pizza in hand, got all our stuff ready to get in. I mean, it's pouring down rain. Like, imagine me soaked in rain. Like, that's exactly what it was. My feet waterlogged. As soon as you get out of the car, it's like a huge puddle already right there. So, but I'm not thinking anything. Like, it's been months since the septic tank got replaced, and I'm not thinking about the whole hill next to the side of the house. Like, it just didn't even occur to me at that time. So, what happens is we go into the house, and I'm like, yo, it smells like rain, like in the house. And like yeah, it's raining outside, but you know what it smells like when it's like moist in your house. Like that's kind of what it was. So when I go inside, I'm like, dang man, it kind of smells like rain in here. And then I look over in the kitchen, and there's like water coming in through the side door. Like it's not a lot at first. It's just like a little, a little stream coming in. And I'm like, oh God, that's not good. So I went and grabbed like two towels out of our little towel closet thing, and I immediately put them up next to the door to kind of like block that like because the door wasn't insulated very well. This apartment was the worst apartment I've ever been in. Like guys, when I tell you there was other problems, there was like other problems. Like it was a terrible apartment. So basically, I put the towels there, hope for the best. The best did not come. What came was even worse. I go back out to the car, grab, more of my stuff. When I come in, now at this point, like half of the kitchen is like full of water. And it's like at least like an inch and a half of water just in the kitchen, like halfway across the floor, behind the oven and stuff. Like I'm like, dude, we can't even like reheat the food in the oven now. Like, what if it starts a fire or something? I don't know. I don't know how electrical, like water and electric, it's probably not good, right? So I'm like, okay, now this is a big issue. So I'm like, okay, we got to start putting the stuff like back in the car. We obviously like can't stay here. The water is raising like significant, like at a rapid pace here. So basically, we put the stuff back in the car. But in the meantime, I'm like, okay, I gotta like what can I do now just to, try and remedy the situation immediately? Because obviously the apartment people aren't going to come out now. Like, there's nothing that can be done. It's pouring down rain. You got to act fast. So what I did was, luckily, I had a shovel, which is rare. Normally, I don't own tools. That's not like something I have. But like I said, this apartment had other problems. So for some reason, I had a shovel on hand. So what I did was, I went out, grabbed the shovel, and immediately where the hill is, like that's the number one problem area. I go ahead and start digging dirt, and I like build this like slope thing up against the door. Like, bro, it's so ratchet, man. Like, I hate that apartment. So I had to build this like dirt like slide freaking thing. Like, bro, I'm not getting paid to do this. This shouldn't be my job, you know? Like a matter of fact, I'm paying to have to do this. Like it's absolute BS. So I'm putting the dirt slope thing up and I had to build it high. Like it went like halfway up the door because the hill was so high next to the door that like I had to like match the level of the freaking hill just to keep it so the slope kept the water from coming in. So that took me probably like 10 or 15 minutes in the pouring rain. And on top of that, the dirt's like wet. So it's not like, you put some up, it's like some of it's sludge, some of it's solid. Like it's just a nightmare. So I got that put up there, right? And then I dug like this little moat thing next to it to kind of like drain the water down and around to get it out of there. Well, all that's fine. I've remedied that door. The damage is already done though. I mean, the inside is completely crashed. Like, there's just water everywhere. At this point, it's spread so far in the house by the time I get this like freaking slide barrier thing done that it's in the bedrooms now. Like it's seeped through the side door into the living room, into the bathroom, into each bedroom. Like it's getting like a little bit into the bedrooms. Um, dude, it was devastating. So that's that part, right? Well, then I go back into the front door. Now the front door is like getting water in too because the rain was so consistent and just like so fierce that it actually started to like the front yard isn't exactly unlevel. It's just like where they put the concrete slab in front of the door, it like angled in a little bit. So even if just a little bit of rain got over that, it started to come through the front door too, basically. So now the entire living room is completely trashed, like water everywhere, and we're acting so fast trying to fix the whole situation that I had some shoes that were like next to the front door. And because when we first got home there was no water there, we didn't think to move that um really. So basically what happened is my shoes got completely ruined. We didn't have renter's insurance or nothing, so those shoes are gone, RIP to those shoes. Um but yeah, so that's what happened and that's what the flood. But we got into contact with our real estate people and we are like, yo, like we can't stay here. It's moisture in the house and I mean, there's water everywhere. Like it's underwater in here, man. So basically what happened from that point is they put us up in a hotel. I don't know if you guys have ever stayed in a thing called a microtel. Bro, we were straight bumming. I don't even think there was like a microwave in there, man. This was like bottom of the barrel. So I'm like, bad situation or worse, right? I get it, first world problems. I'm like, dude, come on, man. Can I catch a break? But, you know, that was the worst part of it, really, kind of to a certain extent. But then it actually continued beyond this point. So I don't know if you guys have ever dealt with a flooded apartment before, but what happens is it becomes a bigger process to get the water out, and they have to use this thing called dehumidifier um, type setup. They put this like big machine in your apartment, and it's running all the time, and it's sucking moisture like out of the walls and everything, because like the entire like so it's doing this for like, I would say, like 2 weeks, and the guy has to come periodically to check it and like do like a beep beep like with his little thing and like put up against the wall to make sure the moisture's out. Well, it took like 2 weeks for the moisture to fully get out. The entire time we're like back and forth between hotel and the house is nightmare. So it finally gets to the point where it's dry enough, right? So now what they do is they send this crew of guys, and it's only like two dudes, and they looked like they're just like hired off the street, like just regular guys, man. Listen, I ain't trying to judge. I'm just saying, man, like I was like, I could probably do a better job. They come in and they take like 2 weeks to redo this. But what they had to do was they had to like break off the old like drywall type stuff, I guess, and then like the floor border thing, like the little wood border things, and they had to replace all that, which took like 2 weeks. Probably shouldn't have took that long, realistically. Honestly, it might have been longer than that, like 3 weeks to a month. Our entire kitchen looked like it was under construction. The bedrooms, fortunately, like the water wasn't so bad in the bedrooms that they were like, I mean, I guess they were like whatever. But so they didn't replace nothing else, just the living room and the kitchen, because it was, I mean, it was underwater for real. So they replace all that, right? Well, I wish I could say that was the happy ending. What happens beyond this point is only what I can sum up as one of the most annoying and frustrating problems I've ever had to deal with living in an apartment or any type of living situation ever. And maybe you guys have dealt with this in different ways before. But what happened was, because the moisture built up in the house, even though they dehumidified and all this stuff, our problems were not over, unfortunately. There was still some like excess moisture left in the apartment, because what happened was we started to get this like, I can only describe them as like gnats, or like fruit, not like fruit flies, but they're like that, like, and it only took like one to spawn like 1,000. So what happened was, in the bathroom and the kitchen, there's like these gnat spawns just like started forming. Guys, when I tell you there was like at least like 50 at a time. Like, I dead serious. Like, there's like 50 at a time. That's probably being conservative. There's like a whole freaking village flying around. And that became such a problem. I mean, imagine you're trying to eat your meals, and there's like, and you kill one, three more spawn. But one day what happened was, see, I was in a pretty degenerate phase of my life at this point, and by that I mean I was getting crossfaded like every day. I was, smoking tons of blunts, and also drinking alcohol. Shout out to Kraken, which is that's a whole nother story, man. If we ever go into like my alcohol stories or smoking stories, I mean, I got tons of those too. But yeah, don't drink Kraken, by the way. It's absolute, that stuff will blitz you. Don't get me wrong. And that's why I suggest against it. Like, that shit is crazy. Anyways, so this is back when I'm doing that. I'm like smoking and drinking Kraken. Freaking degenerate. So it's so funny because one day I came home, long day at work. Oh, this time I had Mike's Hard Lemonades. That's what it was. And the sugar in the lemonades, like, it drew some of the gnats to my drink. So I'm just trying to relax. Like, it's been a long day at work, mind you. Like, I was out. I was doing lawn and pest control at this time. Ironic, like I could prevent other people's house from pest control, but here I am. I got this freaking gnat infestation in my house. So picture this. I come home, and that's working outside and under stressful situations. It's not fun. It's disgusting, and it's hot and sweaty. So I'm just trying to relax, man. I get out of the shower, I'm having my hard lemonades, and smoking some blunts, what have you. And that's when it happened. I'm in the middle of drinking one of my lemonades. Matter of fact, I was probably only like two sips into this one, and a freaking gnat. I watch a gnat go crawling on my lid and goes straight into the freaking lemonade, dude. And this was like one of those big ones too. Like, I think they're like $4 or something like that. and I had like two of them, but it's like one of two. Like, and I like that was it. Like he went in, and I was like, bro, that's it. I had enough. And what I did there, we had two fly swatters, two, because sometimes you had to tag team these things. Like, man, she knows it was bad. So what I did was I grabbed both fly swatters, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen Attack of the Clones, the Star Wars movie, but basically I went into the bathroom and yeah, let's just say like that scene where Anakin like slaughters all the children and the wives and the whole village of the Sand People. I committed mass genocide on this, gnat infestation colony, whatever you want to call it. I completely like there was dead bodies everywhere on the walls, on the ceiling. Like I kid you not, man. Like this is like, dude, this was bum era, bro. Like I was down bad. Like the apartment was down bad. Like this was so bad, bro. So what happened is I slaughter the entire village, right? Like they're done. I mean, I literally fly swatters were broken in the process. At this point, we had been putting up with this problem for like a month now at this point, and it was too far gone. Like I snapped. And literally, so I snapped the fly swatters. Like I was like, dude, I went in. Um and long story short, I mean, dead serious, I eradicated the entire faction of Nat colony that was in the house. And yeah, there was like two or three after that. Well, you would see them here and there. Boom, boom, I'd take them out, and that was it. Like they never came back again. Like dude, there was bodies everywhere. God, man. Yo, maybe I'm too transparent sometimes, but dude, I just wanted to share that story because holy crap, bro. Like talk about being down bad, like, and when something's like out of your control, like building the dirt moats, then I had to build the moat in the front, and we still had problems for like a month after that with the moisture, the repairs, the microtel with no freaking microwave, and then I had to slaughter the entire gnat family. Like, dude, that was bad. That was a different time. But hey, I mean, that's your boy. So just wanted to share that story with you guys. Yeah, hopefully you never have to encounter something like that. If you did, I would love to hear your guys' stories though, because man, it can be a struggle sometimes. Maybe I will share some more stories like this in the future. Um, yeah, so have a good day. Happy New Year to you all. And yeah, long story short, that is why I live on the top floor of my new apartment complex.